Noah scratched a circle in the dirt with his stick. The 5-year-old sat in his backyard in Miami, drawing something that made his mom Noemi stop hanging clothes and walk over. "What are you making, mijo?" she asked, looking at the simple drawing in the sandy soil. Noah had drawn a round ball with a long line coming out of it, but instead of the line going backward like in his picture books, he drew it pointing forward toward a smaller circle labeled sun. "That's wrong, Noah," Nomi said, kneeling down. "A comet's tail goes behind it like your hair when you run. The wind pushes it back." Noah looked up with serious eyes. "Only the light stuff goes back, Mama. The heavy gold stays in front." Nomi smiled. "Gold? Comets don't have gold, baby. They're ice balls. This one is different," Noah said, adding more lines to his drawing. "It's very old and drops heavy things. The sun can't push heavy things back like it pushes light dust." Something in his voice made Nomi pause. Noah was smart, but lately he said things that seemed too grown up for a 5-year-old. "How do you know this?" she asked. "I just know," Noah said. "A visitor is coming to say hi to our sun. It's been flying between the stars for a really long time." Nomi felt confused. "What visitor?" Noah jumped up. "Let me show you, Mama." He ran to his sandbox and grabbed sand, throwing it in the air. The morning breeze blew the sand away from where he threw it. "See? The wind takes the light stuff away," Noah said. "That's what the sun does to the soft parts of the visitor. It pushes them back." Then he picked up some small rocks and put them in a straight line on the ground. "But the heavy stuff, the gold and metal, it's too heavy for the sun to push. It stays on the path, like leaving a trail." Noemi watched, surprised by how clear his explanation was. "I still don't get how we can see the heavy stuff," she said. "Watch this," Noah said excitedly. He grabbed a small mirror from the porch and used it to bounce sunlight onto his line of rocks. The rocks lit up bright, making a glowing line that seemed to point forward. "When our world moves to the right spot, we can see the sun light up that trail of heavy stuff," Noah explained. "It looks like it's pointing forward, but it's really just showing where the visitor has been." Nomi stared. The light on the rocks looked exactly like what Noah was trying to explain. "That's the thorn of light, Mama," Noah said, his eyes shining. "It's a thorn of light." "Thorn of light?" Nomi repeated. "Yes! It's like a bright thorn sticking out from the visitor, pointing right at the sun. Most people never see it because everything has to line up just right." Noah sat back down and kept drawing, adding what looked like a spike, pointing from his comet to the sun. "The visitor is getting closer every day," he said. "In 7 days, the space people with big telescopes will see the thorn of light. They'll be really surprised because they thought they knew everything about space rocks." 7 days? Nomi asked, feeling worried. "Yes, Mama. Next Wednesday they'll have a big meeting and show everyone pictures. They'll use fancy words, but it's really just the visitor saying hello." Nomi looked at her 5-year-old son drawing things she'd never heard of. "Noah, how do you know all this? Who taught you about space rocks and sun wind?" Noah looked up, his face getting that faraway look. "I don't remember learning it, Mama. It feels like I always knew. Sometimes when I look at the sky, I remember being someone else when the world was covered in ice." "Someone else?" "I remember being really cold and hungry," Noah said quietly. "The grown-ups were scared because they thought the bright visitor meant the world would end, but I knew it wasn't bad. I could feel it was trying to tell us something nice." He pointed at his drawing. "The visitor comes from really far away. It's been flying for so long it remembers when the stars were in different places. Every time it goes near a star, it picks up stories and memories." Nomi felt her eyes getting watery, listening to her little boy talk about space like he'd been there. "What is it trying to tell us?" she asked. Noah smiled his regular 5-year-old smile. "That we're not alone, Mama. All the lights in the sky are connected, and we're part of the same big story. The visitor has seen this everywhere it's been, and it wants us to know that love makes the stars move." The rest of the morning, Noah kept drawing and making rock patterns. He showed Nomi how the space rock would get closer to the sun, how it would get brighter, and exactly when the thorn of light would show up. "It will be strongest next Wednesday," he said, totally sure. "That's when our world will be in the right place to see the sun light up the visitor's heavy trail. The space people will take pictures and be amazed, but they won't understand what it really means." "What does it mean?" Nomi asked. "It means the visitor is pointing the way home," Noah said simply. "Home to the place between stars where all lights come from. It's showing us that even though we feel small on our little world, we're part of something much bigger and prettier than we can think of." That afternoon, while Noah napped under the mango tree, Noemi stared at his drawings. Her 5-year-old knew things about space that seemed impossible. Even scarier were his exact predictions about what would happen in 7 days. She called her sister Maria, who taught school and knew about smart kids. "Maria, I need to ask something weird," Noemi said. "Have you ever had a kid who seemed to know things they never learned?" "What kind of things?" Maria asked. "Noah's been drawing pictures and saying things about a space rock. He says in 7 days, space scientists will find something he calls a thorn of light that points at the sun. The way he explains it, it's like he remembers it, instead of making it up." Maria was quiet for a moment. "Take pictures of everything, Noemi. Write down what he says and when. If he's right, you'll have proof something amazing is happening." For the next few days, Noemi did exactly that. She took photos of Noah's drawings and wrote down his words. His knowledge seemed to get stronger, like he was getting more connected to the space rock as it got closer. "The visitor is getting excited, Mama," he told her Tuesday morning. "Tomorrow, the space people will see the Thorn of Light for the first time. They'll call meetings and take lots of pictures because they've never seen anything so pretty." "How do you know it's tomorrow?" Noemi asked. "Because I can feel the visitor's happiness," Noah said. "It's been flying alone for so long, carrying messages between stars. Tomorrow, for the first time in thousands of years, people will see its Thorn of Light and know it's pointing home." That night, sitting on the porch, Noah pointed at the sky where a bright dot was now easy to see. "There it is, Mama. Can you see the visitor?" Noemi looked and could see what looked like a bright star with fuzzy edges. "Is that really a space rock?" "Yes. And tomorrow everyone will see its Thorn of Light. The space people will be so surprised because they thought they knew how space rocks work, but the visitor will teach them there's still lots more to learn." When Noemi tucked Noah into bed, she felt excited and nervous about tomorrow. If her son was right, it would prove something incredible was happening. "Mama," Noah said sleepily, "when the space people show everyone the picture tomorrow, remember the visitor isn't just ice and rock. It's a messenger that's been flying between stars, carrying stories and love from one world to another." "I'll remember, mijo," Noemi whispered. "And Mama?" "Yes? The Thorn of Light isn't just pretty. It's the visitor's way of showing us that even when we feel lost, there's always a path pointing home. We just have to know how to look." As Noah fell asleep, Noemi sat thinking about his words. Tomorrow would show if her son had some special way of knowing about space, or if the universe had secrets that even smart scientists were just starting to find. Either way, she knew something amazing had touched their lives, something that connected them to the big story happening in the sky every night. And tomorrow, the world might learn that a 5-year-old boy in Miami had somehow seen truths about space that even the smartest people were just discovering. 1 week later, Noemi sat in her living room folding Noah's tiny shirts, while the morning news played softly on the television. The November sun streamed through their front window, casting warm patterns across the worn carpet. Noah was in the backyard building elaborate structures with his wooden blocks, his voice drifting through the open door as he narrated stories to his imaginary friends. It was Wednesday, exactly 7 days since Noah had drawn his strange picture in the dirt and made his impossible prediction about space scientists discovering something called a Thorn of Light. Noemi had spent the week documenting everything her son said and did, following her sister Maria's advice, but part of her hoped the whole thing would just fade away like most childhood phases. The TV was showing the usual morning programming, traffic reports, weather updates, a cooking segment about making healthy breakfast smoothies. Noemi found the routine comforting after a week of wondering whether her 5-year-old son might actually possess some kind of supernatural knowledge about the universe. She was matching tiny socks when the regular programming suddenly stopped. We interrupt our scheduled broadcast for breaking news from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. Noemi looked up from the laundry basket, her hands freezing mid-fold. The screen showed the familiar NASA logo, then cut to a large conference room filled with scientists, reporters, and camera crews. At the front of the room stood a serious-looking Asian woman in a crisp white lab coat. "Good morning. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen, senior astrophysicist with NASA's Solar System Exploration Program," the woman announced. "Today we're sharing a discovery that has surprised our entire scientific community and may change how we understand objects from outside our solar system." Noemi's heart started beating faster. She set down the sock she was holding and turned up the volume, her eyes fixed on the screen. Yesterday, our deep space monitoring systems captured images of 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar visitor to pass through our solar system. Dr. Chen continued. What makes this discovery extraordinary is a phenomenon we've never observed before in any comet. The camera switched to show a massive screen behind Dr. Chen. On it was a photograph that made Nomi gasp out loud. The image showed a bright, fuzzy ball with what appeared to be two distinct tails, one curving gracefully backward as expected, and another pointing straight forward like a glowing spear aimed directly at the sun. As you can see, Dr. Chen explained, 3-Eye Atlas is displaying what we're calling an anti-tail phenomenon. This forward-pointing spike of light extends directly toward the sun, defying our conventional understanding of how comets behave. Nomi dropped the entire basket of laundry. Socks and shirts scattered across the floor as she stared at the television screen in shock. The photograph looked exactly like the drawing Noah had scratched in their backyard dirt 1 week ago. This anti-tail effect occurs when Earth's orbital position allows observers to see the trail of heavier particles that the comet sheds along its trajectory, Dr. Chen continued, using a laser pointer to highlight the forward-pointing spike. These particles, primarily metals and dense compounds, are too massive to be deflected by solar radiation pressure, so they remain closer to the comet's original path. The words hit Nomi like physical blows. Heavy particles, metals, solar radiation pressure. These were the same concepts Noah had explained to her, using sand and pebbles and a mirror, but now they were coming from one of NASA's top scientists. The geometric alignment required to observe this phenomenon should have been impossible to predict without sophisticated orbital calculations and precise timing measurements, Dr. Chen added. Our discovery yesterday represents the first confirmed observation of an anti-tail in an interstellar object. A reporter in the audience raised her hand. Dr. Chen, when did you first realize you would be able to observe this effect? That's what makes this discovery so remarkable, Dr. Chen replied. We had no advance warning. Our telescopes captured these images yesterday, November 19th, during routine monitoring of 3-Eye Atlas. The anti-tail became visible due to a precise alignment between Earth, the comet, and the sun that we couldn't have predicted. Noemi felt the room spinning around her. November 19th, yesterday. Exactly 7 days after Noah had told her the space people would see the Thorn of Light. Exactly when he had predicted with absolute certainty. Mom, what's wrong? Noah's voice came from the doorway. He had come inside and was looking at her with concern, his small hands still dusty from playing with blocks. Noah, Nomi whispered, her voice barely audible. Come look at the TV. The 5-year-old climbed onto the couch beside his mother, his dark eyes focusing on the screen where Dr. Chen was now showing additional photographs of the comet from different angles. Each image clearly displayed the mysterious, forward-pointing spike of light. Oh good, they found the visitor's Thorn of Light, Noah said matter-of-factly, as if he were commenting on finding a lost toy. I told you they would see it today. You really knew this would happen? Nomi asked, still staring at the impossible images on the screen. Of course, Mama. The visitor has been waiting so long to show people its message. It knew the space people would finally see it when our world moved to the right place. On the television, Dr. Chen was fielding questions from increasingly excited reporters. Dr. Chen, what are the implications of this discovery for our understanding of interstellar objects? This observation challenges fundamental assumptions about comet behavior and composition, Dr. Chen replied. The presence of such dense material in an interstellar object suggests formation processes we don't fully understand. We're looking at something that may have originated in a completely different stellar environment. Noah pointed at the screen. She's using big words, but it's really simple, Mama. The visitor has been flying between star families for so long that it picked up heavy treasures from many different places. When the sun shines on that trail of treasures, it lights up like a golden road pointing home. The news program switched to showing reactions from astronomers around the world. Scientists in Chile, Hawaii, and Australia were all confirming the observation, their voices filled with amazement and confusion. This is unprecedented, said Dr. Michael Torres from the European Southern Observatory. In 40 years of studying comets, I've never seen anything like this anti-tail phenomenon. It's forcing us to reconsider basic principles of how these objects interact with stellar radiation. The timing is what's most puzzling, added Dr. Jennifer Walsh from the Mauna Kea Observatory. The geometric conditions required for this observation are incredibly specific. It's almost as if the universe conspired to show us this phenomenon at exactly the right moment. Nomi looked at her son. who was watching the scientific discussions with interest, but no surprise whatsoever. "Mijo, how did you know exactly when this would happen?" "I could feel the visitor getting excited as it got closer to the right spot," Noah explained simply. "It's like when you know someone's coming to visit before they knock on the door." The visitor was happy because it knew people would finally see its beautiful message. What message? Noah smiled and pointed at the television, where they were showing a close-up of the comet's anti-tail. "See how the Thorn of light points straight at the sun? The visitor is showing us that no matter how far we travel from home, there's always a path that leads back to where we belong. Even when we feel lost in the dark, there's always light pointing the way." The news program continued with more expert analysis and international reactions. Scientists were calling it the most significant comet observation in decades, possibly in the entire history of astronomy. Some were already proposing new theories about interstellar object formation and composition. "Dr. Chen," another reporter asked, "how long will this anti-tail remain visible? Based on our orbital projections, the phenomenon should remain observable for approximately 2 to 3 weeks, as 3I Atlas approaches its closest point to the sun," Dr. Chen replied. "We're coordinating with observatories worldwide to document this event as thoroughly as possible. Will amateur astronomers be able to see it? With proper equipment and clear skies, yes. The anti-tail is quite prominent in our images, and we expect it to become even more pronounced as the comet brightens during its approach to perihelion." Noah tugged on his mother's sleeve. "Mama, we can see the visitor from our backyard tonight. It's much brighter now than it was last week." Nomi barely heard him. She was thinking about everything that had happened over the past 7 days. Noah's detailed drawings, his demonstrations with sand and rocks and mirrors, his confident prediction that the space people would make their discovery on this exact day. The precision of his timing was impossible to explain through coincidence or lucky guessing. "Noah," she said carefully, "are there other things you know about the visitor? Things the space people haven't figured out yet?" The boy considered this seriously. "They'll learn lots more over the next few weeks. The visitor will get much brighter as it gets closer to the sun, and they'll take hundreds of pictures, but they'll focus on the science parts and miss the most important thing." "What's the most important thing?" "The visitor isn't just showing us how space works," Noah said, his young voice carrying that strange wisdom that continued to amaze his mother. "It's showing us that everything in the universe is connected. Every star, every world, every person. The Thorn of light is like the visitor saying, 'Look, even I know the way home, and I've been traveling alone between the stars for thousands and thousands of years.'" The television program was now showing computer simulations of how the anti-tail phenomenon worked. Animated graphics demonstrated how dense particles shed by the comet remained along its orbital path, while lighter material was blown away by solar wind. The explanation was remarkably similar to Noah's simple demonstration with sand and pebbles, just presented with sophisticated computer graphics and technical terminology. "The key insight," explained Dr. Robert Kim, a planetary scientist from MIT, "is that we're seeing 2 distinct populations of particles. The traditional tail consists of dust and gas, pushed away from the comet by solar radiation pressure. But the anti-tail represents a trail of much denser material, metals, rocky fragments, possibly even crystalline structures, that solar wind cannot displace. It's like breadcrumbs," Noah said quietly, echoing the exact metaphor he had used a week earlier. "The visitor drops heavy breadcrumbs along its path so other travelers can follow the same road between the stars." As the morning progressed, the news coverage expanded beyond just the scientific discovery. Social media was exploding with images of the comet and discussions about what the anti-tail phenomenon might mean. Amateur astronomers were sharing their own photographs, confirming that the mysterious forward-pointing spike was indeed visible from backyard telescopes. Nomi's phone started buzzing with text messages. Her sister Maria had seen the news and was frantically asking if Noah's prediction had come true. Her neighbor Rosa wanted to know if the little boy who talks to the sky had really known about this discovery in advance. "Noemi, you need to call me right now," read Maria's latest message. "The whole world is talking about this comet thing, and I remember exactly what Noah told us last week, but Noemi wasn't ready to deal with phone calls and explanations. She was still processing the impossible reality that her 5-year-old son had somehow predicted one of the most significant astronomical discoveries of the decade with perfect accuracy. "Mama, why do you look worried?" Noah asked, noticing her distressed expression. "I'm not worried, mijo. I'm just amazed. What you knew about the visitor, what you told me would happen today. It's exactly what the space people are saying on TV. Is that bad? No, it's not bad. It's just very unusual. Most kids don't know things about space before the scientists discover them. Noah thought about this seriously. Maybe other kids do know things, but they forget, or nobody listens to them. The visitor chose to share its secret with me because it knew I would tell people about it, and you would believe me. Why was it important for people to know about the Thorn of Light? Because it's not just about space science, Noah said, his expression becoming earnest. It's about hope. When people see the visitor pointing the way home, even after traveling alone for so long, it reminds them that no matter how lost they feel, there's always a path back to where they belong. The news program was now bringing in additional experts to discuss the broader implications of the discovery. Philosophers and theologians were being asked to comment on what an interstellar messenger might mean for humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. This discovery raises profound questions about cosmic connectivity, said Dr. Elena Vasquez, a professor of philosophy at Stanford University. If objects from other star systems can carry information or meaning across interstellar distances, it suggests a level of cosmic interconnection that challenges our assumptions about isolation and separation in the universe. Noah nodded approvingly at the television. She understands part of it. The visitor has been collecting stories and memories from every star system it's visited. It's like a library that travels between worlds, sharing knowledge and love wherever it goes. How do you know all this, Miho? Nomi asked, though she was beginning to accept that her son's knowledge came from sources she couldn't understand or explain. I remember being someone else, long ago, when the world was covered with ice and giant animals walked around, Noah said simply. The grown-ups then were scared when they saw bright visitors in the sky because they thought it meant the world would end. But I knew the visitors were friendly. I could feel they were trying to teach us something beautiful about how all the lights in the sky are connected. The casual way Noah mentioned past lives and prehistoric eras no longer shocked Nomi as much as it had a week earlier. She was beginning to understand that her son experienced reality in ways that transcended conventional boundaries of time and individual identity. What did the visitors teach people back then? The same thing this visitor is teaching people now, Noah replied. That love is the force that moves the stars, that every light in the sky is connected to every other light, that even when we feel small and alone on our little world, we're part of something much bigger and more beautiful than we can imagine. The television was now showing live footage from observatories around the world as astronomers scrambled to point their telescopes at 3I Atlas. The excitement in the scientific community was palpable, with researchers describing the discovery as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to study an interstellar object, displaying unprecedented behavior. We're witnessing history in the making, announced Dr. Chen during a follow-up interview. This anti-tail phenomenon may provide crucial insights into the formation and evolution of planetary systems beyond our own. We're looking at material that originated in an entirely different stellar environment, possibly billions of years ago. Billions of years, Noah repeated thoughtfully. The visitor is very, very old, Mama. It remembers when the universe was younger, and the stars were arranged differently. It's seen so many worlds, so many different kinds of people. Each place it visits, it learns something new about love and connection. As the day progressed, the news coverage intensified. International space agencies were coordinating observation campaigns. Universities were organizing public viewing events. Social media influencers were posting videos about the impossible comet that was defying scientific expectations. But in their small living room in Miami, Nomi was focused on her son, who continued to display knowledge and insights that seemed to come from sources beyond his 5 years of life experience. Noah, will there be other discoveries? Other things you know about before the scientists figure them out? The boy considered this question seriously. Maybe, Mama. But the next big thing isn't about space. It's about something much closer to home. What do you mean? I can't see it clearly yet, Noah said, his expression becoming distant. But it has something to do with old stories buried under the sand. Stories about people who lived here long before anyone remembers, and the beautiful things they knew about how the earth and sky work together. Nomi felt a familiar chill. What kind of stories? Stories about how the first people learned to read the messages in the stars and the patterns in the earth, Noah said dreamily. They knew secrets about growing food and healing sickness and finding water in dry places. But most of all, They knew how to listen to the voice of the earth itself. Before Noemi could ask more questions, her phone rang. The caller ID showed her sister Maria's number. "Noemi, I've been watching the news all morning," Maria said as soon as Noemi answered. "Tell me Noah really predicted this comet thing exactly like they're showing on TV. He drew the exact same picture a week ago," Noemi confirmed, looking at her son, who was now building a complex structure with his blocks that seemed to represent the solar system. He explained how heavy particles would create a forward-pointing tail when the sun lit them up at the right angle. He even said it would happen today. "This is incredible, Noemi. You need to document everything. Take pictures of his old drawings. Write down exactly what he said and when he said it. If word gets out about this, people are going to want proof." "I already took pictures," Noemi said. "But Maria, I'm scared. What if people think I'm making this up? What if they want to take Noah away and study him like some kind of experiment?" "That's not going to happen," Maria assured her. "But you need to be prepared for attention. A 5-year-old predicting a major astronomical discovery. That's going to interest a lot of people." As if summoned by their conversation, Noemi heard cars pulling up outside their house. Through the front window, she could see a van with a local news station logo painted on its side. "Maria, I have to go. There are reporters outside. Be careful what you say," Maria warned. "And protect Noah. Don't let them overwhelm him with questions." Noemi hung up and looked at her son, who seemed completely unconcerned about the growing commotion outside. "Noah, there are people here who want to ask us about the visitor." "That's okay, Mama. The visitor wants people to know about its message. But remember, the most important part isn't the science stuff. It's the love part." The doorbell rang, followed by a polite knock. Noemi took a deep breath and went to answer it, knowing that their quiet life was about to change in ways she couldn't predict or control. Standing on her front porch were 3 people: a reporter with perfectly styled hair, a cameraman with professional equipment, and a woman who introduced herself as Dr. Jennifer Rodriguez from the University of Miami's astronomy department. "Mrs. Martinez, I'm Sandra Lopez from Channel 7 News. We understand your son may have made some remarkable predictions about the comet that NASA announced today. How did you find out about that?" Noemi asked, though she suspected social media was already spreading the story. "Your neighbor posted something on Facebook about the little boy who draws space pictures," the reporter explained. "Dr. Rodriguez here contacted us after seeing the post. She's very interested in speaking with your son." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward. "Mrs. Martinez, I'm a professional astronomer, and I've been following the 3-Eye Atlas discovery all morning. If your son really predicted the anti-tail phenomenon, it would represent something unprecedented in the history of science." Noemi looked back at Noah, who had come to stand beside her. He looked up at the visitors with curious but unafraid eyes. "Hi," he said simply. "Are you here to learn about the visitor's Thorn of Light?" Dr. Rodriguez knelt down to Noah's eye level. "Yes, we are. Can you tell me what you know about the comet?" "It's not really a comet like the others," Noah explained patiently. "It's a visitor from between the star families. It's been traveling for so long that it collected heavy treasures from many different places. When our world moved to the right spot, the sun could light up the trail of treasures, making them look like a bright thorn pointing home." The astronomer's eyes widened. "When did you first know about this Thorn of Light?" "Last week. I drew pictures and showed Mama how it works with sand and rocks and a mirror. I told her the space people would see it today." "Can you show me those pictures?" Noemi retrieved her phone and showed Dr. Rodriguez the photographs she had taken of Noah's drawings and demonstrations. The astronomer studied each image carefully, her expression growing more amazed with each photo. "This is remarkable," Dr. Rodriguez murmured. "The child's understanding of particle dynamics and solar radiation pressure is, well, it's impossible for someone his age." "But he was right," Noemi said. "Completely right. His prediction was more accurate than our most sophisticated computer models." The news crew was setting up their equipment, preparing to film an interview, but Noah seemed more interested in explaining his block construction to Dr. Rodriguez. "See, this is our sun," he said, pointing to a yellow block in the center of his arrangement. "And this is the visitor's path." He traced a line through the blocks with his finger. "When it gets to this spot, the heavy treasures light up like a golden road." "Noah, how did you learn about astronomy?" Dr. Rodriguez asked gently. "I didn't learn it," Noah replied matter-of-factly. "I just remember it. Sometimes when I look at the sky, I remember being someone else when the world was different." The visitors have been coming to say hello for a very long time. As the afternoon wore on, more people arrived. Other scientists who had heard about Noah's prediction, neighbors curious about the news vans, a few people who claimed to be interested in psychic children, and other phenomena that made Nomi uncomfortable. Through it all, Noah remained calm and patient, explaining his understanding of the comet in simple terms that anyone could follow. He seemed to enjoy sharing what he knew, but he also kept emphasizing the deeper meaning behind the discovery. "The Thorn of Light isn't just pretty to look at," he told the Channel 7 reporter during their interview. "It's the visitor's way of showing us that even when we feel lost or alone, there's always a path pointing toward home. We just have to know how to see it." "What do you mean by home?" the reporter asked. "The place where all the lights come from," Noah said simply. "The place where love lives and where all the stars are connected like one big family." That evening, after the reporters and scientists had finally left, Noemi sat with Noah on their back porch. The comet was clearly visible now, much brighter than it had been the week before, with its mysterious forward-pointing spike of light. "Are you tired, mijo?" she asked. That was a lot of questions from a lot of people. "I'm okay, Mama." The visitor is happy that people are paying attention to its message, but I think some of the grown-ups are making it too complicated. "What do you mean?" "They want to study the science parts and figure out how the visitor works," Noah explained. "But they're missing the most important thing. The visitor isn't just showing us physics. It's showing us that love travels between the stars, connecting every world and every person." As they watched the comet together, Nomi realized that her son's gift wasn't just about predicting astronomical events. It was about seeing meaning and connection in the universe that most people missed. The Thorn of Light wasn't just a scientific phenomenon to Noah. It was a message of hope and belonging that he felt compelled to share with the world. "What happens next, mijo?" she asked. "The visitor will get brighter for a few more weeks. Then it will start its long journey back to the space between stars," Noah said. "But its message will stay with the people who really listened. And maybe, when the next visitor comes, more people will be ready to understand what it's trying to tell them." "And what about you? What happens to you next?" Noah smiled and leaned against his mother's shoulder. "I keep learning and growing just like any kid. But I also keep watching the sky and listening to the stories it wants to tell. Because there are so many beautiful things happening up there, Mama. And somebody needs to help people understand that we're all part of the same amazing story." As they headed inside for the night, Noemi looked back once more at the comet with its impossible thorn of light pointing toward the sun. Tomorrow would bring more questions, more scientists, more people trying to understand how her 5-year-old son had glimpsed the future of astronomical discovery. But tonight, she was content to know that whatever gift Noah possessed, he was using it to share wonder and hope with the world. The visitor from beyond the stars had found the perfect messenger in a little boy who saw beauty and connection where others saw only cold science. And somewhere in the back of her mind, she wondered what other impossible knowledge might be waiting to emerge from her son's extraordinary connection to the mysteries of the universe. His mention of old stories buried under the sand suggested that the comet discovery was just the beginning of something much larger and more profound. As she tucked Noah into bed, he made one final observation that would stay with her long into the night. "Mama, the visitor's thorn of light is pointing toward the sun, but it's also pointing toward something else, something here on Earth that people forgot about long ago. When the time is right, I'll remember what it is, and then we'll have another adventure together." Nomi kissed her son's forehead and turned off the light, leaving him to sleep beneath the stars that seemed to whisper secrets only he could hear. Outside, the comet continued its ancient journey, carrying its message of cosmic connection to anyone wise enough to listen. 3 weeks had passed since Noah's prediction about the comet came true, and their small house in Miami had become the center of something much bigger than Nomi could have ever imagined. Scientists, reporters, and curious visitors arrived almost daily, all wanting to understand how a 5-year-old boy had known about one of the most significant astronomical discoveries in decades. Dr. Jennifer Rodriguez from the University of Miami had become a regular visitor, bringing telescopes and star charts to test Noah's knowledge. Each conversation left her more amazed and confused. The boy's understanding of cosmic phenomena seemed to come from somewhere beyond textbooks or documentaries. "Noah, the whole world is talking about your prediction," Dr. Rodriguez said during one of her visits. "Universities are studying your drawings. NASA scientists are trying to understand how you knew about the anti-tail before their most advanced computers predicted it." Noah looked up from his blocks, where he was building what appeared to be a complex astronomical model. The visitor was happy that people finally saw its thorn of light, but that was just the beginning, Dr. Rodriguez. What do you mean, the beginning? The visitor came to remind people about something they forgot long ago, Noah explained, his small hands arranging blocks in precise patterns. Something about how the earth and sky talk to each other, and how people used to know how to listen to those conversations. Nomi felt the familiar chill that came whenever Noah spoke about things beyond his apparent knowledge. Over the past 3 weeks, she had learned to pay careful attention to her son's unusual statements. What kind of conversations? Dr. Rodriguez asked, pulling out her notebook. The same kind the visitor was having with us, Noah replied. The earth and sky are always sharing messages about love and connection. Long ago, people built special places where they could hear those messages clearly. Special places? Noah nodded seriously. Places where they could feel how all the lights in the universe are connected. Places where they learned that love is the force that moves the stars. Do these places still exist? One of them is very close to here, Noah said, pointing toward the east. The old people who built it knew that someday their listening place would be forgotten, so they buried the most important parts deep underground where they would be safe. Dr. Rodriguez leaned forward with interest. Buried underground? What kind of important parts? Stone messages, Noah explained simply. They carved pictures and words in special stones that tell the whole story of how earth and sky are connected. Those stones are waiting for people who remember how to listen. How do you know about these stone messages? I remember being there when they made them, Noah said matter-of-factly. Not in this life, but before. I was a young person then, too, maybe a little older than I am now. My job was to watch the sky and remember the stories the stars told. Dr. Rodriguez exchanged glances with Noemi. The boy's descriptions were becoming increasingly specific, and his certainty was unsettling in its completeness. Noah, could you show us where this place is? Dr. Rodriguez asked carefully. I think so, Noah said, but it's been buried for a very long time. The people who came after didn't understand what it was, so they covered it up and forgot about it. Why are you remembering it now? Because the visitor's message reminded me, Noah explained, his young voice taking on that distant quality that always preceded his most remarkable insights. When I saw the thorn of light pointing toward the sun, it made me remember how the old people used to point toward the places where earth and sky connect. They knew the same truths the visitor is trying to teach us. That evening, after Dr. Rodriguez had left with pages of notes and a head full of questions, Noemi sat with Noah on their back porch. The comet was still visible, though not as bright as it had been a few days earlier. Its mysterious forward-pointing tail continued to amaze astronomers around the world. Mijo, these memories you have about the old people, they feel real to you. More real than regular dreams, Noah confirmed. When I close my eyes, I can see their faces and hear their voices. I can feel the warm sand under my feet and smell the salt air from the ocean. I remember the ceremonies they did to honor the connections between all living things. What kind of ceremonies? Beautiful ones, Noah said, his eyes shining with memory. They would gather at their listening place when certain stars appeared in the sky. They would sing songs that helped them feel the love flowing between the earth and the heavens, and they would share stories about how every person, every animal, every plant is part of the same big family. It sounds wonderful, Nomi said softly. It was wonderful, Mama. But then something changed. People came who didn't understand the old ways. They thought the listening place was just a pile of rocks, so they knocked it down and built other things on top of it. That makes me sad. Me too, Noah agreed. But the old people knew this might happen, so they buried the most important parts deep underground where they would be safe. They left messages for future people who would remember how to listen to the earth and sky. As they talked, Noah began drawing in a notebook that Dr. Rodriguez had given him. His small hands moved confidently across the page, creating detailed diagrams that seemed far beyond his artistic abilities. This is what the listening place looked like, he said, showing Noemi a drawing of circular stone structures arranged in precise patterns. The big circle in the middle was where people sat to feel the connections. The smaller circles around it were for different kinds of ceremonies. The drawing was remarkably sophisticated, showing architectural details and astronomical alignments that would have required advanced knowledge to create. And this, Noah continued, turning to a new page, is the map they made of the sky. He drew a complex star chart showing constellations and celestial movements. They knew exactly when certain stars would appear, and they planned their ceremonies around those times. How do you remember all these details? It's like the memories are stored somewhere inside me, waiting for the right time to come out, Noah explained. The visitor's thorn of light was like a key that unlocked the door to those old memories. Over the following days, Noah's drawings became increasingly detailed and specific. He created maps showing the exact location of the buried listening place, architectural plans for its reconstruction, and star charts that seemed to correspond to astronomical events from thousands of years ago. Dr. Rodriguez was fascinated by the drawings and began consulting with archaeologists and historians. If these locations are accurate, she told Noemi during one of her visits, we might be looking at evidence of a previously unknown ancient civilization. You think Noah's memories could be real? I don't know what to think anymore, Dr. Rodriguez admitted, but his astronomical knowledge has already proven to be remarkably accurate. Maybe his historical knowledge deserves the same serious consideration. The breakthrough came when Dr. Rodriguez showed Noah's drawings to Dr. Maria Santos, a marine archaeologist who specialized in coastal settlements. Dr. Santos immediately recognized similarities between Noah's diagrams and known patterns of ancient construction. These circular arrangements are consistent with ceremonial sites found throughout the Caribbean region, Dr. Santos explained during a meeting at the university. The astronomical alignments shown in the boys' drawings suggest sophisticated knowledge of celestial movements. You're willing to investigate based on a 5-year-old's drawings? Nomi asked, still struggling to believe the situation was real. We're willing to investigate based on evidence, Dr. Santos replied. Your son's astronomical predictions have already proven accurate beyond any reasonable doubt. His historical claims deserve scientific evaluation. What would an investigation involve? Ground-penetrating radar to start, Dr. Santos explained. We can scan the areas Noah has indicated without disturbing the site. If we find evidence of buried structures, then we can consider more extensive excavation. The expedition was organized for the following weekend. Dr. Santos assembled a small team of archaeologists and graduate students, along with sophisticated equipment that could detect buried structures without damaging them. Noah was excited about the adventure. We're going to find the listening place, Mama. The old people will be so happy that someone finally remembered where they put their messages. What if we don't find anything, mijo? We will, Noah said with absolute confidence. The old people made sure their most important treasures would be preserved for people who knew how to look for them. The location Noah had indicated was a stretch of coastal land about 30 miles south of Miami, near what was now a small state park. The area had been developed and redeveloped multiple times over the centuries, but Noah insisted that the listening place was buried deep enough to have survived. This is it, Noah announced when they reached a seemingly unremarkable patch of sandy ground near the shoreline. This is where the big circle was. He walked confidently to a specific spot and pointed down. Right here is where people sat to feel the connections between earth and sky. Dr. Santos set up the ground-penetrating radar and began scanning the area Noah had indicated. At first, the readings showed only natural variations in soil density, but as she moved the equipment over the exact spot where Noah stood, the display screen began showing something unexpected. There's definitely something down there, Dr. Santos announced, studying the radar images with growing excitement. I'm seeing what appears to be a circular stone structure approximately 15 feet below the surface. Nomi felt her heart racing. You mean Noah was right? The radar is showing organized stone arrangements that are clearly artificial, Dr. Santos confirmed. This isn't natural geological formation. Someone built something here, and it's exactly where the boy said it would be. Noah smiled calmly, as if he had never doubted the outcome. Now scan over there, he said, pointing to another location about 50 yards away. That's where they kept the star maps and the stone messages. The team spent the rest of the day scanning every location Noah had mapped out in his drawings. Each spot showed evidence of buried structures, circular arrangements of stone, linear features that might have been pathways, and what appeared to be chambers or storage areas. This is remarkable, Dr. Santos told the assembled team as she reviewed the radar data. We're looking at what appears to be a complex ceremonial site that's been completely hidden for centuries. The layout matches the boys' drawings with incredible precision. How old do you think it is? Dr. Rodriguez asked. Based on the depth of burial and the construction patterns, I'd estimate at least 1,000 years, possibly much older. We'll need carbon dating and more detailed excavation to be certain. Noah listened to the scientific discussions with interest, but no surprise. The old people will be happy that you found their listening place, he told Dr. Santos. But the most important parts are still deeper underground. What kind of important parts? The stone messages, Noah explained patiently. They carved pictures and words in special stones that tell the whole story of how earth and sky are connected. Those stones are buried in the deepest chamber, where they would be safe from floods and storms, and people who didn't understand their importance. How deep? Very deep. Maybe as deep as 3 grown-ups standing on each other's shoulders. Dr. Santos calculated quickly. That would be about 20 feet down. It's possible, but it would require a major excavation to reach that depth. Will you dig for the stone messages? Noah asked hopefully. That depends on many factors, Dr. Santos replied. We need permits, funding, and approval from multiple agencies. Archaeological excavations are complex undertakings that can take months or even years to organize properly. But you believe there's something important down there? Dr. Santos looked at the radar readings again, then at the 5-year-old boy who had led them to this discovery. Based on what we've seen today, yes, I believe there's something very important down there. The news of the potential archaeological discovery spread quickly through academic circles, and then to the media. Within days, Noah's story had expanded from boy who predicted comet to boy who may have discovered lost civilization. Reporters returned to their house with new questions and even more cameras. Noah, how does it feel to have made 2 major discoveries in 1 month? I didn't make the discoveries, Noah replied patiently, sitting cross-legged on their front porch. The visitor showed me about the Thorn of Light, and the old people showed me about the listening place. I just helped other people see what was already there. Do you think you'll make other discoveries? Maybe, Noah said thoughtfully. But I think the most important discovery is the one people make inside themselves. What do you mean? When people understand that everything in the universe is connected by love, they discover that they're not alone. They're part of a big family that includes every star, every world, every living thing. That's the most beautiful discovery anyone can make. The interviewer looked confused by the philosophical depth of Noah's answer, but Nomi understood. Her son's gift wasn't just about predicting events or finding buried treasures. It was about helping people remember truths that had been forgotten in the rush of modern life. As weeks passed, the archaeological investigation gained momentum. Dr. Santos's team obtained the necessary permits and began careful excavation of the site. Each layer they uncovered revealed more evidence of the ancient ceremonial complex Noah had described. We've found pottery fragments, tool remnants, and what appears to be a sophisticated drainage system, Dr. Santos reported during one of her regular updates. This was clearly a significant cultural center, not just a simple settlement. Have you reached the deep chamber yet? Noah asked during one of their visits to the site. Not yet. We're proceeding carefully to preserve everything we find, but we're getting closer to the depth you indicated. The stone messages are waiting, Noah said confidently. The old people made sure they would last until the right time came for them to be found. What will the stone messages tell us? They'll tell the story of how the first people learned to listen to the conversations between earth and sky, Noah explained. They'll show the maps of how love travels between the stars, and they'll teach people how to feel the connections that make everything in the universe part of one big family. The breakthrough came on a warm December morning, exactly 2 months after Noah had first drawn his picture of the comet in their backyard. Dr. Santos's team had reached the 20-foot depth Noah had predicted, and their careful excavation had revealed the entrance to a stone chamber. This is it, Dr. Santos announced to the gathered team, her voice filled with excitement and awe. We've found the chamber. Inside, exactly as Noah had described, they found carved stone tablets covered with intricate symbols and astronomical diagrams. The stones were perfectly preserved, protected by the chamber's careful construction and the dry conditions created by the ancient drainage system. This is unprecedented, Dr. Santos announced, as she carefully photographed each tablet. We're looking at what appears to be a sophisticated astronomical and philosophical text, carved in stone and preserved for over 1,000 years. The stone tablets showed detailed star maps, seasonal calendars, and complex diagrams that seem to illustrate connections between celestial movements and earthly events. But most remarkable were the symbolic representations of what appeared to be universal principles of love, connection, and cosmic harmony. It's like they were trying to create a permanent record of humanity's relationship with the universe, Dr. Rodriguez observed, studying photographs of the tablets. That's exactly what they were doing, Noah confirmed when he saw the images. The old people knew that future generations might forget how to feel the connections between all living things, so they carved the most important lessons in stone, hoping that someday people would remember how to read them. Can you read the symbols, Noah? Some of them, Noah said, pointing to various carvings in the photographs. This one means love that travels between stars. This one means earth and sky speaking together. And this big one in the center means all things are one family. The discovery of the stone tablets created international excitement in archaeological and astronomical communities. Scholars from around the world requested access to study the carvings, which appeared to represent a sophisticated understanding of cosmic principles that predated known astronomical knowledge by centuries. What we're seeing here challenges our assumptions about ancient knowledge, announced Dr. Patricia Williams, a leading expert in archaeoastronomy, during a press conference at the University of Miami. These tablets suggest that ancient peoples possessed insights into cosmic connectivity that we're only beginning to understand with modern science. Are you saying the carvings are scientifically accurate? Remarkably so, Dr. Williams confirmed. The star maps correspond to actual celestial movements from approximately 200 years ago. The seasonal calendars are precise to within days, and the symbolic representations of cosmic principles align with current theories about universal interconnectedness. Noah watched the press conference with satisfaction. The old people would be happy that their messages are finally being understood, he told his mother. What do you think will happen next, mijo? People will study the stone messages and learn about the connections between earth and sky, Noah replied. Some will remember how to feel the love that moves the stars. And maybe, when the next visitor comes from between the star families, more people will be ready to understand its message. As the months passed, the archaeological site became a center for research and learning. Universities sent students to study the tablets. Astronomers compared the ancient star maps with modern observations. Philosophers debated the implications of the cosmic principles carved in stone. But for Noah, the most important outcome was simpler. People were beginning to remember that they were part of something larger than themselves. Mama, do you see how the visitor's thorn of light and the old people's stone messages are teaching the same thing? He asked one evening, as they sat on their porch, looking up at the stars. What's that, mijo? That love is what connects everything in the universe, Noah said, his young voice carrying wisdom that continued to amaze his mother. The visitor traveled between stars for thousands of years, carrying messages of love from one world to another. The old people carved their understanding of love into stone so future generations would remember. Both of them were trying to help people understand that we're all part of one big, beautiful family. Nomi looked at her son, this remarkable 5-year-old who had somehow bridged the gap between ancient wisdom and modern discovery. And what about you, Noah? What's your part in all this? I'm just a messenger, like the visitor and like the old people, Noah said simply. My job is to help people remember what they already know in their hearts, that love is the force that moves the stars, and that every person, every world, every light in the sky is connected by that love. As spring arrived, the comet had faded from view, continuing its journey back to the space between stars. But its message lived on in the hearts of everyone who had witnessed Noah's remarkable predictions. The archaeological site had been designated as a protected historical landmark, ensuring that the ancient stone messages would be preserved for future generations. Noah himself seemed to be returning to a more typical childhood. His extraordinary insights about cosmic phenomena had quieted, as if his mission as a messenger had been completed. He still loved looking at the stars and building complex structures with his blocks, but he also enjoyed normal 5-year-old activities like playing soccer and watching cartoons. Do you miss having the special knowledge about the visitor and the old people? Nomi asked him one evening. I don't miss it because it's still here, Noah replied, touching his chest. The knowledge isn't gone. It's just sleeping until it's needed again. And besides, the most important thing I learned isn't special knowledge at all. What's that? That everyone has the ability to feel the connections between all living things, Noah explained. Everyone can learn to listen to the conversations between earth and sky. Everyone can remember that love is what moves the stars. They just need someone to remind them that it's possible. And you reminded them? The visitor reminded them. And the old people reminded them. I just helped translate their messages into words that people could understand today. As they sat together under the vast canopy of stars, Nomi reflected on the extraordinary journey that had begun with her son drawing pictures in the dirt. The comet discovery had led to archaeological revelations that were reshaping understanding of ancient knowledge. But more importantly, Noah's simple message about cosmic love and universal connection was touching hearts around the world. Scientists were studying the stone tablets and finding new insights into the relationship between human consciousness and cosmic phenomena. Philosophers were writing papers about the implications of ancient wisdom for modern understanding, and ordinary people were looking up at the night sky with new appreciation for their place in the universe. "The visitor is gone now, but its message will keep traveling," Noah observed, pointing toward where Three-Eye Atlas had once been visible. "And the old people's stone messages will keep teaching new generations about the connections between earth and sky." "Will there be other visitors? Other messages?" "There are always visitors coming and going," Noah said with certainty. "The universe is full of messengers carrying love between the stars. Most people just don't know how to see them or hear what they're trying to say. But you do? Sometimes. And maybe other kids do too. But they forget or nobody listens to them. The important thing is that people are starting to remember how to listen for themselves." As they headed inside for the night, Nomi took one last look at the stars that had revealed so many secrets through her son's remarkable insights. The comet was gone, but its legacy lived on in the changed hearts and minds of everyone who had heard its message through Noah's innocent voice. The stone tablets continued to share their ancient wisdom with researchers and visitors from around the world. And somewhere in the future, other messengers would arrive with their own revelations about the cosmic connections that bind all things together. But perhaps the most profound discovery wasn't about astronomical phenomena or archaeological treasures. It was about the simple truth that wisdom can emerge from the most unexpected sources, that children sometimes see connections that adults have forgotten, and that the universe is always trying to teach us about the love that moves the stars. Noah's story reminded everyone who heard it that we are not alone in the vast cosmos. We are part of an interconnected web of love and consciousness that spans from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy. The thorn of light that pointed toward the sun was just one visible symbol of the invisible connections that link every heart to every other heart across space and time. In the end, a 5-year-old boy from Miami had served as a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern understanding, between cosmic visitors and earthbound humans, between the scientific mind and the loving heart. His message was simple but profound. Love is indeed the force that moves the stars, and we are all part of one beautiful, connected family dancing together in the infinite cosmos. The universe had spoken through the innocence of a child, and the world had listened. And in that listening, people remembered something they had always known, but had somehow forgotten, that they were never truly alone, that they were always connected to something larger and more beautiful than they could imagine, and that love was the golden thread weaving through every star, every world, every beating heart in the endless tapestry of existence. Was Noah's story just a series of impossible coincidences? Or was it a glimpse into a reality we are only beginning to understand? When researchers dug into ancient texts after hearing Noah's story, they found something chilling. In the Gospel of Thomas, a text buried for centuries, verse 77 speaks of a light that is within all things. "Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there." Furthermore, the Book of Enoch, an ancient manuscript excluded from the Bible, describes luminaries that travel distinct paths and carry wisdom from the ends of heaven. Enoch describes stars not just as burning balls of gas, but as conscious entities that follow strict laws of truth and light. Noah's thorn of light, scientifically known as the anti-tail, is a rare physical phenomenon, but spiritually, it mirrors the ancient concept of the axis mundi, or the cosmic pillar that connects the heavens to the earth. The fact that a 5-year-old boy could bridge the gap between advanced astrophysics and ancient metaphysical wisdom suggests that perhaps knowledge isn't always learned. Sometimes it is remembered. Like the comet Three-Eye Atlas, we are all travelers passing through. And perhaps, if we listen closely enough to the innocent voices among us, we might just remember the way home. Noah's story reminds us that children often know things adults do not understand, and that love is truly the force that moves the stars. If you believe that we are all connected in this universe, comment below what you thought of this discovery. Subscribe for more journeys into the unknown, and share this video so that more people can hear this message of hope and cosmic connection.